Welcome, everybody. Probably can hear me breathing in the background here. Welcome to Let's Talk Tridactyls. I'm your host, Mr. Ed, former archaeologist, paleontological technician, and museum educator. And we're going to have some special guests tonight. We're going to have Fat Jesus, our partner in crime, and Rebirth of the Word, scholar and sage. I thought we'd go over some of my own personal tridactyl discoveries, such as the infamous third eye that so many metaphysical people love to speak of, and occultists. Well, I suspect a lot of our cosmological beliefs from humanity are stemming from these beings. Why do I suggest that? Well, because throughout recorded history, it appears as though these beings are considered mother goddesses, creators, fertility beings, creator beings. And I took a guess that the third eye is something that may have been spawned by them, not really knowing the biology. And sure enough, it looks like there is a parietal pineal gland. So the parietal is on the upper side of this foramen here, and the pineal gland is on the underside. And then over here is a good example from an extinct monitor lizard from 50 million years ago. Gives you an idea of what we're looking at. And just another image of that. Some images appear better than others, that's for sure. Also, you can see here a healthy, is it a healthy or is this Alberto? This is Alberto's displaced ear bone, which seems to have some similarities to a marine animal. One of the many reasons I suggest these beings are amphibians is this bone here in Maria, her lack of coccyx, this what they're calling fused vertebra, I suggest is a urostyle from an amphibian, a frog specifically. So here is a diagram of that. Just thought we'd go over some past discoveries. Another personal discovery is what appears to be, in my opinion, two distinct chambers with a clear separation of bone in the back of the skull, alluding to a possibility of two distinct brains. Here's the beak on the smaller ones, rostrum-like beak. The furcula or clavicles, paired clavicles, and the stomach ribs, gastralia, found in crocodilians. Just doing a little review here for anyone who's maybe missed some of the information. These are the larval forms I found, some of their faces. Varying degrees of, was I say clarity, or varying degrees of blurriness. But these are, you know, some of these like millimeter size heads, so I don't feel too guilty. This one here almost looks like one is gripping a smaller one in its mouth. This one here, you can see possible proboscis. Same with this one here. Proboscis, a hummingbird-like tongue, perhaps. Any other good images of these guys? Again, they're varying degrees. Tridactyl larval forms here. This one here, we might be picking up some tiny lamprey-like teeth. This looks like we have a good shot of that rostrum beak-like structure. So I know some people question whether this is true or not. These are larvae. Appears as though there are boring on the inside of this. Oh, that might even be a little larva right there. Look at that. Look at that. I never really noticed that before. Yeah, there might even be soft tissue in there as well. That there is boring going on in the inside of that metal implant. I mean, look at that too. Isn't that funny? A little bit of clarity when you look at things on a bigger screen. Also in Luis's head, it seems to have similar patterns of boring. In fact, we might even catch this soft tissue here might actually be possibly larval forms. Hard to tell in that one. That's Luis's skull. Again, just showing some similar sort of boring marks that are on the skull. Like right here, see these little guys here? They're like little, almost like maggots. So here's a proposed theory on the proboscis. Now keep in mind that the observed feeding orifice was noted by the researchers, the medical researchers, and both myself and Miles noted a fleshy mass behind the sinuses here, which I propose is a hydrostatic pump. And then those ridges, what we're seeing, those ridges may act as a routing and anchorage system for the tongue and a possible forked tongue, mind you. In fact, in the back here, observed canal system, I noted two, what would you call them? Canals, I guess, two canals. And so the tongue would then meet up here in the center, and you would end up with a bifurcated forked proboscis, which, if you're familiar with the mythology and the depictions in art, a forked tongue is depicted quite a bit. And then just a full shot of a larval form. Looking at its head, there's the rostrum beak again. Note too that the young ones appear to have spots. And since they are in a environment where they cannot escape, I suggest they cannot escape because of the diatomaceous earth and because of the cadmium chloride, which is on the exterior of the bodies, keeping the larva within. And then we've mentioned that Euro style. So this would actually be well, it has a tail here. And then these are the feet still fused, in my humble opinion. We do want to talk about Paloma today. So we're going to bring the guys on as we switch over to, we have both the Alien Dash Project open and we have Tridactyls.org open today. And let's bring on whoever is here. Looks like we just have Rebirth at the moment. Welcome, sir.
What's going on, bro?
What's happening?
Not much, man. I was over here just looking at some of the stuff you was just talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was, it's, you kind of have to go over this stuff constantly because, people forget and people join that weren't there before and whatnot. So I thought it was good to do a little review. Let's see. Are we airing on? Yeah, we're airing on X. Good. Leave it to Mr. Jesus to be a fountain of misinformation. Where are you, Mr. Jesus? I see him in the chat. Say, look, ready? Boom. There he is. You're not an X today? Yes. Yes, I am. So what else? So I thought it was good to review. I think you even mentioned sort of, it is like advertising, or dare I use the word propaganda. Propaganda has its negative context, and even advertising has its negative context. So it's continuous education, and even when you're teaching kids, you always have to kind of reiterate. So I thought it was good to go over some of my key finds, which I'm proud of, which of course are the larva, the parietal pineal complex, and that proboscis, which again coincides with the feeding orifice that's already been mentioned, which the researchers suggest is for liquid. So use your imagination there. So we've got Paloma we wanted to talk about today. see what kind of images we got from her. So they're going to be releasing Paloma, her files. So even though it's cool to look at the videos, it's even cooler to look at the medical scans. She's got quite the neck. The trapezius muscles look, they remind me of something you might see in an ape. Just like Maria's barrel chest is like something you might see in an ape, which actually, Maria does have 2 different chimpanzee traces. Some suggest it's just the human traces coming up, but with a hit of bonobo and pan troglodytes, I think they were looking at a hybrid, which would make sense. Paloma's interesting because she's one of the few that's been found with hair. So she has like a reddish hair. He says he hasn't received the link. I put it in the Tridactyls chat where I think you suggested to put it last time, Mr. Jesus. So I have used the videos before to help with my research. Can we zoom in on this, I wonder? I would have to probably download this to zoom in. Otherwise, it's, what can we say? I mean, her feet are huge, obviously, right? So
Can you zoom in on the feet?
I don't think so on this one. I don't know if I've downloaded it somewhere else. I think you have to download it for it to actually, let's, make it work, where you can zoom in. Yeah, because even when you just zoom in on the computer, it doesn't quite work. Unfortunately, we got to do this for now. Looks like Mr. Jesus is here.
Oh.
What's going on, sir?
I don't see you on X. It's not appearing.
I see us on X.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
at it right now.
for some reason. Yeah, for some reason, for even StreamYard, for the last update, they don't allow you to stream to X, and I noticed that on Restream too.
No, we're on X. You have to. The thing with Restream is X has its own separate studio now for going live. So that's why. Remember when I say at the end of the show, I'm always like, "Hold on, I'm still streaming on X."
Yeah.
X has its own studio. You have to. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like it. They changed. So when you start at the Restream, you also then have to go. It's like a 2-step process. Then I have to open X Studio and make sure that I do everything right there.
So I wanted to ask you about this because I've been looking into this diatomaceous earth, however you say that word.
Yeah, I have some in the house.
I'm just going to call it what DE.
DE. They call it DE.
Yeah. So it says it mainly affects by drying out the stuff. So this means that it will slow down the amount of time the bones would deteriorate, right? And I also learned that is mostly for moisture, and is with silica rich powder made from fossilized diatoms. Basically, just pulls out moisture. And then I was reading about how, because I was looking up different things about how would it affect, like the Nazca mummies or the Tridactyls and stuff like that. And some of the stuff that I took notes on, because I actually have notes right here. It says you basically to tell if these things were real or fake is basically just using X-rays, CT scans, and histology and direct sampling, and all that's been done. This is from a broad different things of, using different ChatGPT, Grok, Google, Safari, Windows Explorer, doing my own asking the same, basically typing out one question and copy and pasting and see where it would lead me to, and ask for different sources. And those are the main things that I found was the earth, the DE that you talked about was basically to keep the bones preserved longer. So they're a lot older than what they can actually be. We just don't have, the actual dates that some people can agree with, but we know they're old and we know that they're some kind of human beings or some kind of species at least. And then to see if they're fake is all you have to do is just look at the X-rays, because if I take these skeletons and it doesn't matter what X-ray facility I go to, it's going to print out a piece of little plastic thing that's going to show exactly what's on the bones. And if you provide that on TV, everybody that reads X-rays and whatever their field is should be able to look at it and just say, look, yeah, there's no denying this is real.
I've shown these scans to, like, you could look at this in two different ways. I've showed these scans to a vet and I think someone who's like a chiropractor or something. Now you could say, well, they're not really qualified, but at the same time, they were qualified enough to look at it and say, oh yeah, those are seamless. Those are, so we can look at, are they qualified enough to say that? But they said they're seamless whole specimens.
There's really no
the biggest critique is like, oh, it's sewed together chicken bones. And I think
that's funny you say that, because I watch a lot of television. You guys know that I already told you everything that I watch has something to do with history, some format, some way, right? So I was watching, there's a show on King of the Hill when actually they find some kind of native stuff in Hank Hill's house. They dig it up and they find some arrowheads and they want to do some more digging. And Hank basically gets jealous of the guy and he tries to stitch together some chicken bones and this, that, and the third together. And it's just like, you can tell by looking if they're chicken bones or not. Like, I'm not even an expert in the field. I've had enough broken bones in my body to see X-rays of what an arm would look like under X-ray machine. Right.
So even amateurs can see if people took the time. So you can tell the people who don't even take the time.
Yeah, but it's just interesting because I've actually I've had a couple of broken bones. My brother had a couple of broken bones. One brother had a dislocated shoulder, and I got to see all those X-rays. Yeah, so I got to see exactly what it would look like. Not just saying I'm an expert on it, but I mean, I know what I see.
Right.
So if you're gonna tell me something's fake, you're gonna have to explain it to me like my eyes won't believe that it's fake. Like, you're gonna have to convince me hard. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at it, and if it was chicken bones, no two chicken bones are going to be the same. There's not going to be just one chicken bone and one saw.
Well, and people are getting the specimens confused. Like, maybe you could say, the small ones could be chicken bones. Okay, maybe. But then there's these other human-sized specimens. How do you? It just shows a gross disconnect. Also, the thing that people do is they share the Reuters news article, and they try to use that against me. Like, see, it's fake. Here's the Reuters news article, and it's like,
no. Buddy. Let me ask you, because this is very interesting to me, because I like to take everything in consideration, no matter what it is. How far back do you think these species go?
Oh, well, if you put together what I call a morphological suite of traits, meaning everything from the top, the parietal pineal gland, to the furcula clavicle, to the gastralia stomach ribs, to possible cutaneous breathing, to a possible tubular heart and hydrostatic mechanics, meaning their neck may extend, and the way they would extend is not too different than the male genitalia, where it would be full of liquid and then it would extend. Of course, the eggs. And you put all of this together, and this indicates to me a species from hundreds and hundreds of millions of years ago. But we don't have to
hundreds of millions. Hold on, slow down now. You going too fast, man. You gotta let people digest this for a second, man. You just went over the ledge with that. So you serious 100 million years.
Well, I wanted to offer a collaborating evidence to that number. Okay. So there.
I just want to make sure everybody understand 100 million years.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions of years.
Hundreds and hundreds.
So when you look at the unknown DNA also, and again, this is just simple extrapolation.
Let's just go with a billion.
A billion? Well, you could say half a billion.
Let's
half
go
a
with
billion.
half a billion.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that. Yeah, half a billion years ago. And if you looked at this, the 65% or more unknown, you would have to go back hundreds and hundreds of millions of years to get a hit on a known species for that DNA. Put those two together, that's two separate data sets indicating deep time. And why do I say deep time? Because again, to have an animal, we'll say an animal, with that fused furcula and just the stomach ribs alone and just the cutaneous breathing, we're talking about what I call a possible basal tetrapod, meaning earliest four-limbed animals. I also use the term proto-amphibian because they're amphibians, but there's something else. There's something else to them. Now, of course, when I say that, we're talking about the ancestors of these beings, like Paloma. When I say hundreds and hundreds of millions of years ago, I'm really talking about Paloma's unknown DNA, her unknown DNA ancestors, because obviously Paloma, as we look at her, she clearly has some primate or Homo DNA in her.
So, but if I'm looking at it, because Fat Jesus brought this up like the last two times we did this, that they don't walk on their heels but on their toes, but that means they would still practice in some way bipedalism, right?
I call it facultative bipedalism, meaning it was part-time. So according to my my research, they are four-limb first developing amphibians. Josephina's limbs, for example, are longer. So a modern example might be an axolotl. But going back to the walking on the two legs, yeah, I use a term I call it the satyr pose, a satyr from mythology. Usually it's shown with like goat legs. But I use that as an example that like Pan, right? Like the god Pan. So I suggest that these mythologies like Pan, somebody saw something like a tridactyl, described it in some way, and it comes out this cartoony looking character. I mean, for fun, I like to, by the way, I sprained my back, so.
I want everybody that is listening.
You can't see my legs, I don't think, but
yeah,
I like to get up on the tip of my toes and kind of lean my head forward.
He's doing an imitation. No, keep going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish you could see the full body, so I could propose.
We want to see the full effect. I need you to go back there and get the costume on. No. We need you to get the costume on with the horns and everything.
Oh well, I do play Krampus from now and then.
Yeah.
I've been Krampus several times.
We need you. You know what you need to do? You know what you need to do? Put on the costume, do a small video, and then press a button whenever that comes up, and then have you just walk around, prance around like with the legs.
I think it would be fun to do it with an audience.
A collection of Professor Ed Casa's.
It would be fun to have like an audience.
Make great memes. That's all I gotta say.
Do the proposed move. I'm gonna see if I can find that.
This is entertainment, honestly.
Nah, look, man, I'm telling you, I've been doing a lot of research on this.
But it's entertainment.
Good, you have to.
A lot of people, there's always this argument about where humans started at, right? Mm-hmm. There's so many different arguments with it. I mean, we just got hit with another bone that looks like it might have been used as bipedalism, or the species might have used some type of bipedalism, which goes like 1 million years before the one they found in Africa. But then I think about all the species that practice bipedalism and all the different type of ape-like species. And then some people will say 1 minute that we don't come from apes. And then sometimes they'll go back and say, well, we do come from apes because the bones would show something that comes from their location. So it's just so interesting that we got to the point where, Ed says this goes back hundreds of million years ago, and you can tell that they practiced some type of bipedalism, man. Like you can tell they got on those two legs sometimes and walked a different couple of feet or whatever, and boom, that's it. That's all we really need. So now is the question is, where do humans really come from, and where did we really start? Because did we start like this, or did we start like something like that?
The aquatic ape theory, and the idea of the aquatic ape theory is that being in the water would force the primates to prop up on two legs.
Are we talking about sea monkeys?
Isn't sea monkeys interesting though? I mean, it's one of those weird pop culture things where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like these are like sea monkeys, the Tridactyls, and
I don't think this generation has ever experienced sea monkeys.
What's
honestly,
also unique? What's unique about the sea monkeys, Jesus? What's unique about them?
Well, they look like shrimp.
No, before that, though.
Oh, before that,
like when you get them.
They're dry. They're
dry. They're in a cryptostasis.
They're dry. They're mummies already. You get mummies.
But see,
you should start selling. You should start selling sea monkeys.
Oh, totally. Yeah. In fact, there's another company that sells. I think they call them sea dragons or something.
Tiny size.
Yeah.
You know, it's just funny because Ed, I'm telling you, Ed be going 100 miles an hour, man. He don't hit that brake for nothing, man. He don't care. Let's go back to that aquatic ape theory. Now, that's a real theory hypothesis.
That is a real theory.
It's real.
Yeah, that says that humans came in. You know, they once lived in the ocean. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I have to look it up, but I just thought about it while I was talking. The whales used to be on land. Now they're in water.
Yeah.
Okay, those people that are just joining us, so they have a new Tridactyl, right?
I mean, Paloma's been around for a while. The important thing is they're going to release the scans to the public. So,
okay, just check it. All right, go back to what Rebirth is saying about the swimming monkeys.
Yeah, it's called an aquatic ape hypothesis,
they have
man.
Scuba gear or not?
Man, I actually tried to locate the descendant of one of the proponents of the theory because I wanted to let them know that, even though that they were ostracized for the theory.
What? Let's think about that for a second, though. What does that look like, though? Let's think about the easiest way to think of an ape hypothesis in the water. Humans started in water. How would that look? How would that be depicted?
I think apes in the water started off them being stranded on an island trying to get food that they don't have anymore because they used up all their food and resources, and they need to get off that island and get to a land that they can see from that island from afar, and that's how they started to swim.
I was just going to say mermaids, bro. I was just going to say the easiest way to look at it is by looking at mermaids that humans started.
Apes don't swim, and if Maria has,
are we going to go mythology?
Well, if Maria has a Euro style of a frog, of evidence of a frog resorbing its tail, and if these beings are, like I suggest, go through a four-limb first metamorphosis like an axolotl, then guess what? Mermaids are real. And if they're only part-time bipedal, but they're also quadrupedal, guess what you also have? You have centaurs and you have water horses. This is what Vallée alludes to, and I kind of believe too. That's why it's part of the constant companion theory, which is our mythology would be nothing without various interpretations of seeing these beings.
Let's see. That's why I wanted to bring that up because I study that very well. And what you just said, you brought up the aquatic ape theories, and I remember learning about that in school about possibly humans started in the water and stuff like that. I mean, there's a Simpsons
hairless
episode
apes,
about
right? The salt water rubbing away from the hairs on the
skin. They say that when children can be born underwater, and the hair on us runs the direction of flowing water, right?
Treb, welcome to the stream.
We are but lonely sea monkeys inside the forgotten jar in a child's dresser. Well said, Mr. Wolf.
But think about that for a second. How would you depict that as a picture to tell a story? Like, how would you depict that a person coming from the waters? What's the best way would you depict that?
I don't know, like Maria.
Wait. Let's go back real quick. I want people to imagine this because we have a professional, an expert in mythology here, and Rebirth is that guy. That's why we're this trio here on video, and I want to imagine these monkeys. I mean, I started this ball on the island, and can you imagine how many of us here can raise their hand and say they have interacted and swam with dolphins? I actually went like every month in Key West to swim with dolphins. The dolphins actually really knew me. Like whenever I was getting close, you could hear them going, "Ee, ee, ee," like they already knew I was coming, and they didn't see me with their eyes. Yeah, they were already talking. Like I hear the same sound, but their radar and their sonar can detect through walls my internal organs, everything. They know I was approaching, and they knew it was me that was coming. They know people by their sonar. I don't know how they do it. I don't know the science from behind it. All I know is that
Frequency,
the Navy
bro.
has studied them heavily over that technology, and it's interesting. And I want Rebirth to pop up with the mythology, how humans or apes, or let's go even further, our old ancestors, or maybe the hybrids, cavemen, maybe they communicated with these aquatic animals, and they formed a huge bond with each other because they had to get to one place to another. What stories are there out there, Rebirth? What
Yeah,
mythological stories?
I was just going to say the Mesopotamians have lots of stories about underground in water, or into the depths, or some type of beings in the water that come out.
Well, here's your evidence of mermaids, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I said. Mermaids. I think that's the easiest way to depict that. That's like, how would you depict that? Half man, half fish, half woman, half fish, a mermaid type. Look at the movie The Mermaid, how she was given legs to walk on Earth. I mean, I'm not saying some magical thing like that happened, but it could possibly show the evolution.
At this world, isn't it neat?
But I mean,
let's be more down to earth. It's not too far fetched for us.
There he is.
Us humans. For us humans to actually emotionally feel attached to something that we love, like our dogs, our cats, how we want to depict ourselves as a hybrid with these loved ones, because they're a part of us as much as we are a part of them. Like a centaur, or not a centaur, but like a half horse, half human, or
that's a centaur.
Yeah, it is, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean,
centaurs, satyrs, and mermaids. I'm suggesting they're all real.
Hey,
Mark and Sammy. Mark and Sammy are both here today.
Welcome to the stream, guys.
Thanks for coming from Boca and from the UK.
Thank you for the love. Thank you for the likes and the follows, guys. I appreciate that. So I'm trying to be grounded today. That's just a switch, and everybody else is entertaining the mythology. But I'm thinking that humans, and not just humans, but Neanderthals, had an imagination. Some of us don't even think about that. And in anthropology, we dissect that idea where we have to imagine ourselves today. Our imagination, is it encouraged by our society, our internet, our technology, or our imagination is actually from deep within ourselves? Does our imagination, is it born from birth? Does that come with the territory from the beginning, or is it encouraged by our culture? You have to ask those basic questions, because we have to think about these mummies, and we have to think about how their arts and culture, how they're created. Are they created by the culture around them, or are they birthed with all that? Is that part of them? So all these mermaids, all these ideas, all these depictions, are they the imagination, or are they real? Go ahead. Wow, you guys are really intent in listening.
It's
thank you.
It's just, I just got done putting in ChatGPT.
That's right,
a picture,
Sammy.
To look in what it would look like from an animal or a fish or a mermaid turning into an animal or a human, I guess. And it's actually pretty interesting because a lot of people don't believe in evolution, you know what I'm saying? And everybody has their own ideas. You know, some people just say we didn't come from apes, or we don't have anything common with apes, or whatever the case may be. But you know, it makes me think. I mean, we don't look the same that we looked 100,000 years ago.
No, we don't.
You know what I'm saying? 50,000 years ago, we don't look the same.
No.
You know, the Homo sapien line has, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, the Homo sapien line has changed a lot since 300,000 years ago. So
I mean,
why
did they have all the grooming stuff that we have today? We have mani-pedis and nail salons.
Man, I'm telling you, it's
well.
it's
The
really,
thing is about the Homo sapiens from 300,000 years ago. Part of the idea is that the skulls are similar to modern humans. Hence the identification and such. So you would have to go back farther to our Neanderthal relatives.
We have to do a shout out to the women, because we don't. I mean, we have to encourage more so. Women put a lot of time and effort into their bodies and their hair, their eyes, their nails. They spend a lot of time fixing themselves up. So if they didn't fix themselves up, what would they look like? You know? so you know, how did that evolve? I mean, how was it back then? How did they look like back then?
I don't know.
Without all those tools?
Was eye makeup created
That's a big industry, by the way,
to encourage to look like the Tridactyl ancestors? Was lipstick encouraged to facilitate blood on the mouth? I don't know.
Interesting. Well, yeah. I don't
Sammy
know.
with some wacky views.
You know, I need to research that.
No, it's just so interesting that, you know, the Homo sapiens don't look the same as they did.
Would a Tridactyl have lipstick? Can you imagine? Are you going to do a drawing of a Tridactyl with lipstick?
I'm reminded of E.T. now in drag from the movie.
Yeah, E.T.
You know, and of course, the other thing about Maria is that they suggest that she doesn't have a navel. That means she wasn't born with an umbilical cord. So she was likely developed from an egg. There's E.T. now. So that's why I offer these two images here as evidence of your mermaids. This Euro style, I suggest, is what this is, of a Anuran frog amphibian that has resorbed its tail. And then this here, a four-limbed first larva with its tail still and with the feet still fused, in my opinion.
You always bring out that sock puppet, man. When are you going to name it?
I did name that one. I named that one as Logan and Donovan, because there's the hatchling.
Nice. Logan and Donovan. Let's give it to the house, baby. Woo! Yeah. I want pictures of Logan and Donovan. I'm going to put it on my shirt, man. Hell yeah.
Oh, here we go. Mascara is used to reduce glare in bright surroundings.
I want Logan and Donovan right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that.
So
Loving
what
it.
else?
I'm gonna say that I'm interested in to see
Mark
what else
showing his true love.
Oh yeah, look at him.
So we're just going through in the other screen, our fourth screen. I'm just going through the various images of Paloma.
So guys, this has been around for a while, but the thing is that they're just coming out with the scans right now. But how many more Tridactyls do they have? They have not scanned.
They haven't been scanned or haven't been shared. I mean,
no, they had to all been scanned, bro. If you got a CT, it don't take long to do CT scans.
But it costs money and time. But,
I
mean, you know how many scans are doing?
Shared is what I meant. Yeah. How many have to be shared still?
Okay, have you ever been to the hospital where you have to get a CT scan? How much paperwork you have to do, and the politics behind it when you
gotta do shit. We in the VA, bro.
Yeah,
VA,
man. Come on, man. Where do you live?
Look, here's a bunch of these new ones.
Actually, in my VA, we have to go to a tractor trailer to get scanned. I guess it's a third-party contract.
Gee, why did they name one?
No, it's right outside the VA. We do too here.
No, it's in the VA parking lot, but the trailer is in the VA. So
yeah.
But I asked them. I'm like nonchalant. Oh yeah, just do a scan. You know, and they're like, yeah, it's not that easy. It costs money. It costs the VA money. They charge them a lot. You know, just to do.
So here's a bunch of the smaller reptilian types that they call them reptilians. Of course, I don't care for that term that we don't even talk about. This is just goes to show you. There's Will, Clovis, Ceres.
Bro, look at those beautiful pictures.
And Koyuriti. So there is so much more to go over. There's so many more scans to be revealed. And who knows? There's going to be varying degrees of quality of scans, and different bodies may offer different information. You know, so Paloma has a jaw implant. Yeah, it's never going to end, really.
This is going to keep going. This Tridactyls.com. Professor Ed Casas is not going to say, well, I got other better things to do. I got to travel to Indonesia and do some other work over there. No,
well, if I did go to Indonesia, it would be to look for the Naga, who I believe these people also are. The Naga, or the dragons.
We're going to do a trip real soon here next month. We're going to be searching for Tridactyls in North America.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for that trip, to be quite honest, gentlemen.
I mean, no, you gotta be ready, buddy. You know, or if we can have to pull you out there in a stretcher, we will.
Don't. It's funny you say that, because I pulled my back this week, and I have been. It caused me so much pain that all I could do is sleep.
All I gotta say to you right now is walking sticks. They are amazing. Start learning how to use walking sticks. Buy them, get them. Make them a part of you. They are the most important thing to have at your age, at my age. They will help you balance and walk the terrain. People use
right, because what's it doing? It's making your 4 limbs longer.
Yep, that's right. You get 4 limbs. You hear that, Rebirth?
I mean, your forward limbs.
Yeah.
I got me a walking stick.
Yes, I want to go to China and find dragons. Exactly, Diddy Weldon.
What Ed Gassa was saying, the way they move is like this. So
drop your hands down. You got to drop your wrists. Their hands are permanently in that position.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Hold on.
And their heads might actually hang below or equal to their shoulders. But yeah, I've been tracking the various Naga temples in the world. And again, you know, I suggest that this whole culture of the dragons and the Naga is coming from the Himalayas. And the reason the Naga temples are around the base of the southern part of the Himalayas is that they descended from the other side.
Okay, so these are walking sticks. So you walk like this.
Yep.
You should make that. You should snippet that and put it as an Amazon review or something.
So no, I mean,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
but you know who uses these the most are Europeans, Canadians, a lot of people from other foreign countries. They use this a lot, and they do have underneath this are spikes. So I have like little things right here. So if you're in the snow or ice, you can use the spikes to hold you down. Right now I have the little plastic tips on it. They don't want you to use the spikes in archaeological sites. It'll damage the site. So I have all the tips for this one. These are super lightweight. They're carbon fiber for traveling. I need to work on weight. I got them like 50% off on Amazon on Black Friday.
So here's Ica University, where the majority of the mummies are being studied. Well, I say the majority, that's not even true. I think they only have a handful of them. So the bodies are spread out. There are various teams working on them, and various labs have studied them. But I noticed this week too.
Diddy says you want to go to China to find dragons.
Yep, I shared his message at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed that Rebirth was talking about the Nilotic Congo language. And so here is a proposed homeland of that language, in case you're interested.
Sammy, I wanted to tell you, I live in Virginia, where Virginia Beach is. So every year we have the Neptune Parade, and we celebrate the mermaids over here in Virginia Beach. It's a big event, huge event. So
that's what I'm saying is these mythologies talk about this. I mean, you only can depict these things in ways that you can try to make it being understood by other people. And some people would do half fish, half, human. And then somebody would put like the bottom part being the fish fins, or then some people would put the fish head.
Or they'll make them a serpent. They'll make the bottom half a serpent.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I was going to say. Depending on where you lived at, would determine what kind of animal you choose to represent that form in the first place. That's why you have people with different animals represented.
And they swear that mermaids do come ashore over here in Virginia Beach.
Man, they
show up like human
there's
beings.
Stories in Japan about that shit, bro. Like
these, check out these yellow markers around the south end of the Himalayas.
They probably have a secret society out here that closed them.
These yellow marks on the south side of the Himalayas are all key ancient Naga temples. And then if I was computing all these different languages, and it is possible that the majority of Earth's languages could have started from a singular location and traveled 1 mile a year and spread out through the world.
Oh, so that's the main cauldron of society, you're saying?
I'm saying that this is the origin point, approximately, of our dragon myths and humanity.
That's where it landed then.
Landed? What do you mean?
That they were not from Earth. They came from somewhere else in the universe and landed there, and that's how all of life started.
I don't know if they had to come from anywhere else. This could be a natural process of the planet.
Possibly. I'm speaking for those that believe in that.
Keep in mind also, guys, that this region here was a mega lake. And I was talking about this last week. If you were to follow these exit points of the mega lake, you can see on the Earth that there is a great amount of sediment that flowed. So that's why I suggest, is this the origin point, not just of the Tower of Babel, if you will, but Noah's Ark and
that's something
Eden.
We all agree too.
Also, this was a monsoon climate. This was a subtropical climate, a perfect way to reproduce a sort of African climate for our primate ancestors. And what is the other evidence of that? I think is it the purple dots? The purple dots are Denisovan and Neanderthal caves. This is another reason why people suggest an out of Asia theory, but you got to have both.
Yep, that's right. I mean, that's Rebirth's wheelhouse right now, Sammy, is pretty much the reason why you probably believe that is because everything in mythology and everything that has gone on in everybody's culture, even your own and your family's culture throughout history, has led to that thought that you're thinking of, because we wouldn't be here today passing on from generation to generation to generation, because we don't live long. So if we live forever, then we would all have the answers to. Yeah,
and as an anthropologist, we're always looking for what is the impetus for these beliefs. There has to be an impetus. We can't just say, well, someone just made this up in a cave, right?
That's right.
It's too wide. That's why it's too widespread. The whole dragon motif or the water serpent motif is too widespread. So there are various exit points that our ancestors could have used from this region, and perhaps propelled by that flood. Perhaps it wasn't intentional. Perhaps people were just thrown to these great distances.
But I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
You know how we look in Egypt and the Middle East area, and in Arabia and in Iraq area, we have heard stories, and this is mostly for rebirth down there with history. I've noticed that there has been cultures conquering other cultures, and then they would destroy, obliterate the other culture. They didn't leave their stuff up there. You know, here's one thing. You know how they have all these monuments and all their stone buildings and all that stuff are up? Why not reuse it, right? Like, I mean, you got a building with 4 walls. I just conquered you. Now I got free 4 walls. You know, I got a free air conditioning. I got a free TV. I got a free a thermostat, and I got a free stove. I got a free everything, right? Everything is free. I don't need to destroy it so I can make my point. So why am I going to destroy a whole city? That, I mean, what has that city defied, or what have they done to cause such a wrath from that other culture for the whole place to become rubble? You know what I'm saying? Where I'm coming from? That's your wheelhouse.
It's the aesthetics, bro. The aesthetics. Your aesthetics is not our aesthetics. So how do we make you become under us? Well, we destroy your stuff. We put up our stuff. Yeah, they might still have people who pass on stories, and that's why you have a mixture of similar stories, because one god came into being another god or a being or a species, or so on and so forth. I mean, think about it for a second. The best way to take over somebody is destroying everything that they used to worship or honored or loved, and then you build your stuff on top of that.
Yeah, the best example is the conquistadors building churches and cathedrals atop of mountains.
Yeah. And they do reuse their stuff. They do use things. They just sometimes they reuse it in the sense of building something until they can get their stuff back up and running.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the head numbers now, since we're getting towards an hour already.
So if we conquer China, are we all going to burn all Chinese objects? Like everything that's made in China, we're gonna just basically throw it in.
Hopefully, we've advanced past that. That's why we have this.
I'm just using common sense here, though. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to. I know what you're saying, Professor, but the thing is I'm trying to think, like, why destroy all of this? Why? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. It's like, why destroy a whole cultural society? Just completely obliterate everybody, and then just not even rebuild either. They just completely eliminated everything and then moved on, and just the place is complete desert after that. They didn't even.
War is waged against the descendants of our ancestors, if that makes any sense. So if you see the yellow highlight, that means you've already won. So we're going to roll and see who is the winner for this evening.
Who's the winner?
Got a bunch of dice rolling. First number is 84, and 84 is a winner. Shut Down. Shut Down is our
Congratulations,
winner.
Shut Down.
I thought since it's been an hour, that way people don't have to... ultimately it's dominance, says Diddy. I think, Diddy, were you the one that had the strange name last week that we couldn't pronounce? Yeah, Taliban started destroying the Buddhist statues, yeah?
Yeah. And the Buddhists destroyed the Hindu statues. They replaced it with the Buddhist temple statues. Remember that? They started defacing everything with their beliefs. And you could tell between the Buddhist and the Hindu work in the temples. If you watch on YouTube, you could see there's some people that work in the field of archaeology or pseudo archaeology. They show you the work of how the Buddhists and what their culture and how they do stonework in comparison to the stonework the Hindus were doing. And then even the hypothesis that maybe even the Hindus didn't even do the stonework, that some cultural society before the Hindus may have done the stonework throughout, and the Hindus moved in. That could even be the possibility. That could be the same thing about the Egyptians. Am I right there? Let's hand it over to Rebirth, because Rebirth knows more about this than I do.
Every it's so funny because a lot of people will say like there's only one story that tells where these beings came from, and like I said this before, as many stories that there are of them coming from outer space, there's just as many of them coming in the inner earth and the deep seas, literally. And it's just a matter of how do you interpret the words that's using. Like when most people hear the word fallen angel, they think that they fell out of heaven. But if you look at the word, it just means fallen, and an angel just means a messenger. So, how many times, and I said this before, how many times have you ever used that word or phrase, I fell out with somebody, me and that person fell out, we fallen out?
At the same time, though, if the origin point, as I suspect, is the Himalayas, then they would have been coming down from above.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that mountains were always considered the heavens.
So
Mount Olympus.
Yeah,
so Mount Kailash is considered one of the holiest mountains in the world. In fact, the Sphinx and the Lion's Rock of Sirajia, Sri Lanka, both align to 1 degree of Mount Kailash. Now, related to Mount Kailash are the two very much holiest lakes in the world. This one here is a Rakasha lake of salt water, and this is a freshwater lake, which reminds me of the life cycle of eels. Eels begin their lives in one body of water and mate in another body of water. Now, if this is a Rakasha ogreous lake, is this supposed to be some pareidolia here? Is this supposed to be a tridactyl head? Is that what they're suggesting? Also note, too, the name Lankuo, as though it's almost sounds like language.
Zoom into the head of that pareidolia.
And where is this exactly at again?
Yeah, this is Tibet, the Himalayas, near the base of Mount Kailash.
I need you to zoom into the two rivers that lead into the top of the head. Look how wild that is. That's almost like it was man-made, the whole coastline right there. Look how perfect that is. That is just literally so perfect.
And then just to add a little bit more science to it, there was salt crystals discovered in the skull of the Tridactyls. So not only an aquatic beginning, but a saline aquatic beginning. That's why I always suggest a saline beginning.
I wonder if there's a meaning for that. I mean, it could also be a hammer. You never know. So you could actually
right, but it's not called Hammer Lake though. It's called Lake of the Rakshasa, the ogreous lake. I don't think Sammy and Mark noticed, but you guys have already won your tridactyl heads. I was hoping you guys would notice.
Congratulations! I love mine.
Here you go. So yeah, and also I believe it's, speaking of Buddha, I believe it's also at this lake where Buddha's mother was impregnated by where the god keeps his flying swan craft. So what does that mean? Buddha's mother was impregnated here by the god, and by she remembers being impregnated by a white elephant with 6 tusks.
Looks like that lake looks like a head too. So,
and this lake also looks like a head. So is this a human head?
No, it looks like a tridactyl head.
Or is it a hybrid head?
It could be.
What's that other one? What's the other ones that's on there? What are those other ones?
The other lakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I did all the blue dots are me tracing all the saline lakes. Okay. With a suggestion that perhaps these our ancestors or tridactyl ancestors perhaps were following these saline lakes to get to
maybe there's a tunnel underneath all that.
to help spread through the world.
Maybe they travel underneath between those. That's their aquatic tunnel.
Also, another interesting thing talking about the phonetics is this kuo. So there's two phonetics I'm interested in. The ang, which I suggest is just a sort of perversion of the naga, and it's found with water association in Asia. And I suggest that ang comes to us, to the West, where it becomes our anguilla, which means eel, and angels, and angles. Now, why do I say angles? Well, the larval forms, their tails are frequently depicted. I have shots of them.
Don't call me a loser.
Where their tails are bent at an angle. And then ku, if you've heard some of my talks before, ku, I suggest, is a part of the trinity of beings that are part of human cosmology.
What a world we live in. What a world we live in that we have Google Earth, people. I mean, I'm so fascinated. There was a time where we didn't have the technology or the hands-on technology to move in and out from a satellite.
Oh, I know.
That is insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the technology to manipulate and move around and see our planet. And some of you guys are oh no, that's a simulation. But I mean, whatever. But I love that we have the technology to see everything and move around and plan our trips and go places and discover, and we can actually travel before we even go there. And it's just absolutely
And keep
incredible.
in mind too that Naga land, the Naga people, it's a very real people. This is and again, when I talk about dragons, I always want to make the point that these are not the Western monsters. People in Asia believe they are descended from dragons and descended from the Naga. And there's even a myth in Myanmar we talked about recently about a creation myth of people developing from tadpoles, which lines right up into with my discoveries of the larval forms in the bodies.
So my question is, don't we have Tridactyls here in North America?
We do. You can see them in the petroglyphs in the native Northwest.
Because I think it's important for us to discover our indigenous culture here in North America, and we need to travel around because we have a lot of viewers here that, you know, they can't make those trips far away, especially now that we're in a time of war. It's very difficult to travel. But if we could travel inside the United States, that would be even better. You know what I'm saying?
So this tribe here appears to tattoo tridactyl faces onto their own face. You can see the supraorbital arches, and you can see the triangular temporal bones coming off the side. You can see the cross hatching of the skin pattern, and you can even see what appears to be a fused clavicle. They've tattooed a furcula onto their body.
Wow. So they're doing the same thing as the mummies, the hybrids that are in the mummies. They, instead of physically fusing all of that as a mummy, they're doing it with the tattoos. That's incredible, guys.
And then look at this depiction of these Naga. Someone said to me, oh, well, they look like snakes. And I said, snakes with noses? Tridactyls have noses. These are depictions of Naga. Look at these. I mean, they're like cartoon humanoid faces.
And people think that these are monkeys. So.
Yeah, well, what happens is every researcher is going to come up with their own suggestion of what they think these are.
Down to earth suggestion. That's what they're looking for. So they don't be discounted when they do their peer review
in their defense,
and all that.
In their defense, they didn't have the Tridactyls to riff off of. I have the Tridactyls to riff off of.
Yeah.
I already compartmentalized them as being real beings. So that freed me. Once I realized that they were real biological beings and that they were in fact depicted in the archaeological record, well, then the rest started to fall into place.
Yeah. So
I was looking for
we're still watching your Adobe Express here.
Yeah, I was looking for another depiction of.
We see your little doggy.
He was a puppy, huh? Well, I did mention this about we've looked at this before, but since we were just at Mount Kailash, you can see that the remarkable similarities. And of course, these are giant objects. So the fact that we can even get a degree that's even close is amazing. The Sphinx at 30 degrees north, Mount Kailash, 31 degrees north.
Lions Rock,
81 degrees east, Mount Kailash, 81 degrees east.
I'm interested in Lions Rock because it's difficult to get up there. And the way to get up there, you have to climb the rock face to get up there. They put stairs there for people to get up there.
Sure.
But that's not how they got up there. They didn't get up there with stairs. They climbed up with ropes. That's how they got up there. That these people were climbers. Like, it's a whole indigenous culture of climbers that climb really fast. That they were tree climbers and mountain climbers. They were just a whole culture of climbers. They were just insane. The best climbers in the world that you can only imagine. Just amazing the strength that they had just from birth. That the babies being wrapped up in cloth and the women just just with the babies on their backs or in their front, just climbing up those mountain cliffs and everything, putting everybody in danger, and they didn't care. That was natural. That's how I imagined it, man. It was absolutely something to see. It's incredible. That's if you guys can just view that, just if you ever get a chance to look at that place, it's huge.
I love it. And I think there's pareidolia involved too. It looks like a giant tridactyl head, and it even has a kappa. So the kappa from Japanese myth has a concave region in its head that holds water, and at the top of that Lion's Rock is a place to hold water, a pool of water there.
And you know, they had the home advantage. They had the home advantage because, just like football, if you go up north, a Florida team going up north in the snow, they don't have the home advantage, when they're playing. So imagine a whole army trying to climb that rock cliff. They're going to fall off and die.
And there's deeper myths of Kubera versus Ravana, I believe is the name. The Rakasha god versus the Kubera, the hidden god.
Halfway up. Oh, I can't climb this.
Kubera is literally known as the hidden god. So there's a lot there. I like Rebirth said, I put a lot out there, but I'm also trying to seed their own imagination to go out, find one of these pieces of data that you find interesting and research it. And let it take you places.
I wonder if there's a culture of water. I mean, we were talking about water people, but an actual human culture of water people that are not tridactyls.
Yes,
that
there is.
Lived practically underwater. Like, they would hold their breaths longer than anybody else. Anybody that tried to reach them to attack them could not survive underwater long enough. They would drag a person underwater and hold them down and drown them to death.
So
because
there's
they didn't
people
live
of the
underwater.
Celebes Sea. So let's go look at the Celebes Sea. So I always suggest this. If you want a place for Atlantis, here's a place that is nearly circumnavigated by land. It would take you a sort of spirally route, assuming in earlier times that this landmass was higher. And who lives here but a tribe of people that are genetically predisposed to hold their breath longer. So I suggest, why would you look farther? Also, this region of the world is the beginning of marine navigation. We're suggesting that at least 50,000 years ago, people were using boats in this region.
Of course, yeah. That's amazing. Man, we got to visit so many places. I mean, bring those donations
Peru is
in,
interesting,
man. I'll tell
but
you.
I'm also interested in going to, in August, I think
everywhere
is when India has the big Naga festival.
I mean,
although they might have it in Tennessee one year. That'll be fun.
We need to do a lot of research on these areas.
Yes, that's what we were just talking about, Mr. Diddy.
Specifically on this subject.
Yeah, let's look up their names so we can get it.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, I've already been doing that on I got my own YouTube channel with it. I got my own articles. I write on my website, rebirthoftheword.com.
Oh, you flew there? You went there already?
I'm talking about I fly to different, or I fly. I go to different places around just to do videos on them. Like
So
we're
they're
supposed
Here
to
in
be
the
doing.
U.S.
So
Yeah.
here's the name so everybody can remember it for the future is the Baijal people or sea nomads of Southeast Asia. They can hold their breath for up to 13 minutes at depths of over 200 feet. They possess genetic adaptations, including spleens up to 50% larger than average. I mean, come on. What if you want? I mean, seriously, if you want evidence of Atlantis, aren't these people it? In my opinion.
I mean, I'll tell you what. My bank account will put you on my back, and I can take you there by foot, but I can't fly you there.
I know a buddy in Thailand, so if we go to Thailand, we can have a connection at least.
Yeah, at least, right? I mean, we got connections everywhere, but just getting there is not cheap at all.
You know what's interesting? This cave here.
That's right. That's why I told Ed to start putting that donation out there so people can donate for those trips.
Yeah.
Like you said, people
organization. Yeah.
That's how most people do it, is finding sponsors to help them do that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
we need to get the sponsors for this. I mean, we were aiming for a museum, a university, and writing peer reviews and stuff. There's a lot of sponsors out there. We just need to do a lot of the footwork, write books, and hopefully we don't have a car crash like in Peru for that dentist that did a peer review on Tridactyls. That poor guy. That's the only guy that did a peer review on Tridactyls, and then all of a sudden he loses his life.
Is he the only one that did the peer review?
Yeah, he is the only one. He did a peer review, and then all of a sudden the I don't know. I don't want to talk about conspiracy theories now.
Yeah, because the other guy lived.
Oh yeah, the other guy lived. Amazing. He didn't do a peer review on Tridactyls, did he?
I don't think so. So we looked at a lot of cool stuff today. And I think we covered a lot of good stuff. You guys allowed me to cover a lot of cool things today.
So Diddy says, isn't there a modern day tribe who can hold their breath for 4 to 5 hours? We were talking about that earlier.
Oh, I don't know. 4 to 5 hours, 13 minutes, it says.
Well, I mean, if they were using certain apparatuses and they had if they had some air bowels underneath the water to breathe, and then they stay underwater, and then they had them all set up beforehand, and they blow out. And,
I don't think that's as interesting as these people that are genetically inclined to hold their breath for 13 minutes, though.
Yeah, but if they set up these air. Like bamboo, or things with air in it that always fills up with air, and they breathe in, and it doesn't show up above water, then yeah, I think a person can hold their breath for a long period of time. So it'll give the illusion, that they can hold their breath for a long period of time if they prepare ahead of time. But if you drop them off somewhere else around the world and then they don't have their equipment and all that stuff, then, those poor people, they wouldn't be able to survive. They have to be in their own environment to survive.
Well,
thank you, Sammy. No, definitely follow Professor Ed Casas and Rebirth. I'm the entertainer. You could always see me playing.
This piece here I find interesting because it resembles the archaic letter B. And I don't know if you saw the first slide I showed today, but I mentioned I wanted Rebirth to look at that, is this theory that this skull that likely belongs to Victoria has, to what looks to me, an archaic letter A carved into its skull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Professor Ed Casa will be seeing the chiropractor for the next 2 weeks and a physical therapist before the next trip coming up.
Check out, if I haven't showed this Hongshan pig dragon before, look at this one. And this is an interesting piece. This is on a turtle shell and with a serpent in the shape of a letter C.
Is that a copyright?
Copyright?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's a C?
Is that that's an ancient copyright?
And this one I've shown before. Just further evidence of that four-limb first metamorphosis that I suggest is out there.
A little archaeological joke there.
But it's generally accepted that people understand that everything came from the water, from life first. Life started in water, on Earth at least.
Yeah, we've always said that. We've always said that.
Yeah.
That we've developed from some amphibian that crawled from the water, right? So are these those amphibians? Because it certainly seems like it. And if you put together that hundreds and hundreds, what we say, a 500 million year origin, combined with mythology of these beings, of showing tridactyl faces and calling them creator beings, what is that telling you? It is a collision of data.
It's just interesting because, like I said, the one thing that I do know is in mythology, the Anunnaki gods, a lot of people think they came from some planet named Nibiru. The actual text says that they come from the depths of the sea. You can look at it in their depictions of their gods being half man, half
so
fish-like.
Look at that. Someone sent us off on a red herring because of that, when we should have been focused. Was that willful, or was that some ancient alien theory?
Well, it's the Zachariah Sitchin ancient alien theorist ideas. They get it all from Zachariah Sitchin.
So he did us a disservice. He gave us a great red herring.
No, and I believe that too, because one of the key things that make me understand that it started in water, at least from the Sumerian side, Mesopotamian side, is the word Abzu, ABZU. That literally means some type of water. That's
it also seems to be, if I'm not mistaken, a theonym. It's a name, isn't it? Also.
Thank you, Sammy.
Well, because when you was talking about the fresh water and the salt water, that goes back to the Tiamat.
It goes back to the
Tiamat and
the two
Marduk.
gods, a saltwater god and a saltwater goddess and a freshwater god, if I'm not mistaken, which would coincide with my theory, and also even modern evolutionary theory, which is a mother goddess mates with the male local.
Yeah. Now my question is how many places on Earth has that same similarity of water, of fresh water?
And also that there's what I call my own folk. I call it folk etymology, because I'm kind of putting together my own sort of proto language. When you break down Abzu, you have Ab, which is a father phoneme, and Zu, which is an animal morpheme, which I've seen in multiple languages. So it's like saying animal father.
That's what I'm saying, is that I know what the mythology says, the ones that are most famous for it. And I know that when it comes to the Anunnaki, the idea is not that they came from some planet named Nibiru. That's one thing. That's why I always harp that I don't understand how Billy Carson goes around saying that.
Same dudes.
He picked up the torch from Zachariah Sitchin and Eric Von Däniken and them. And he's saying that they came from, but I'm telling you, I'm serious. That's like one of my biggest questions, is where did these gods came from? This is the whole reason why I'm on this journey in the first place, is to understand these gods and where they came from. And it led me to understand mythologies and the Bible.
What do they bring with them when they come out of the water?
Well, sometimes they have baskets or bags of some sort.
Well, I don't mean physically. I mean, like, they bring civilization and language and writing and
that's what I'm saying. That's what it says.
And all these things. And it just
you're not hearing me. Listen to me. That's exactly what it says in the mythology, is that they came from the waters and gave humankind some kind of knowledge to better themselves. It literally says from the depths of the seas. It doesn't say from outside of Earth's atmosphere.
Another data set that just collaborates with everything we're saying tonight.
And then when you look at the Ubadians that came before the Sumerians, that came before the Mesopotamians, that people will call them, technically they would be the Mesopotamians. They would be probably one of the oldest because they came before the Sumerians. They have depictions, which I showed you guys, that look like some kind of reptile, and I know you don't like to use that word, but some kind of amphibian type, maybe salamander, lizard, or whatever, some type of water animal that's almost, depicted as that in their artifacts. So it makes me wonder. It looks
like the Tridactyls. It has the broad shoulders of the Tridactyls.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that before. Yeah,
and
I brought the pictures up.
The skin scoots.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is that, whether I want to believe this or not, it's not whether I want to believe it or not. It's what the facts are showing
exactly.
me. Exactly. We don't never plan these discussions out. So when you was talking about that fresh water and salt water, the immediate thing that I thought about was Tiamat. That was like the first thing that popped in my head. And then like the ideas of the mountains. I know for a fact that when it boils down to religion and even just any idea of gods, they usually sat on top of mountains, and that's when Fat Jesus said, like Mount Olympus. I've said that many times. It is like that. The mountains,
which Olympus isn't a Greek word.
Yeah, but
it is a foreign word, Olympus, and there's in Peru there's Ollantaytambo.
So yeah, that's what I'm just saying is that I see these, what you're saying in these mythologies. And like I said, we don't go over here and say, hey, say this or say that. I just want to make sure I listen to what people say and I know what mythologies talk about it.
And I know how deep it is. I hated talk. The Anunnaki again. I hated that talk. Reptilians, how stupid. The Bible, don't believe it. And now through my research is where we're at today and collaborating with you guys. This wasn't like an intention. This wasn't like, I wasn't here to preach a belief system. This is what I've just is unfolded once I was able to realize, oh, the Tridactyls were once living things. Oh, they were depicted in the archaeological record. Once you have those two concrete things, Tridactyls are real, Tridactyls are in the archaeological record, you have nowhere else to go but to uncover the truth and keep going further.
Well, that's why
I wanted to share my belief on this whole situation with aliens and cover-ups and stuff like that. And I'll give you guys an idea because I had a experience with an alien encounter myself, and I'm not going to go into detail about it right now. Maybe later on when we have a chance. But the thing is that we have to take account, and I don't want to despairingly throw Billy Carson under the bus because I met him personally, and I have talked to him personally, like one-on-one. Man to man, talking about things, and we have actually Professor Ed Casa and we have talked to Billy Carson, and he agreed to a podcast and stuff like that. But we never got a chance for that, but I think he's a genuine person. Now, the information he puts out on his video, he had a situation with his previous spouse, and she helped him put that information out. I don't know if that's a third party thing or whatever the case is. I don't know what his belief is right now in comparison to the past. All I know is he's just a businessman and he likes doing the things that he does. And this is just his life, the way he runs it. But, I think genuinely he's a very good person. He's a nice person. As far as he trying to hurt us or do anything, no, he's not a hurtful person. He doesn't go around hurting people or trying to do damage to people or anything like that. He's actually a very nice person. You ever get a chance to meet him, go ahead and meet him personally. You're going to find him. He's a genuine, very nice person and stuff like that. He won't attack you.
Is this a plug for Billy Carson?
No, I'm not trying to do. I want to give people. I want to give people my assessment, my personal assessment of when I met him and talked to him and communicated with him face to face, and we had a long conversation. That's all. I just wanted you guys to know what I saw about him. And I'm a good judge of character whenever I sit down with people.
I've met him before. I've met him at Cosmic Summit. I talked to him one-on-one before too about some of the stuff that I had.
Was he a bad person?
No, and I don't think anybody's a bad, being a bad person is subjective, first of all. So, your bad person could be different than what I think is a bad person, you can be a nice person and still.
A manipulated person is a bad person. That's what I think. A person that likes to manipulate information or manipulate people to do things in a certain way, that's a bad person. but,
Yeah,
but
but
I
that's
haven't
even
found him very manipulative when I communicated with him.
no. He truly believes what Zachariah Sitchin says. No, that's not being a bad person. I know Zachariah Sitchin literally has his own he had his own ideas about it. The problem is that he wasn't able to provide sources for it. He would use the broad terms like Enuma Elish or the Epic of Gilgamesh, but anybody can go and read that stuff for themselves and see that it has nothing to do with extraterrestrials, especially when you learn the linguistic sides. He doesn't teach you the linguistic sides of how these words came to be, like the Strong's Concordance and stuff like that. He talked about it in his videos and stuff. But when he first wrote that book, he didn't talk about that stuff, and that's what most people go off of. And Billy Carson, like I said, he's not a bad person because I don't know him personally. I didn't grow up with him, and I know people that you can grow up with somebody and they can be one way and a whole nother path. I mean, I got family members that's like that, so that's neither here nor there. But when I say is when it comes down to understanding the facts of what the information say, it makes me wonder, okay, if we believe in the Tridactyls that we believe in, then there's more of a possibility of them being the Anunnaki rather than them being from a different planet. And I say that with sincerity because that word Abzu, the number one word that has to do with any of it is the word Abzu. And then we look at the depictions and the stories and the mythologies, and then you're just like, where does it say that they come from a different planet? Where does it say that? And there's no cuneiform tablet that we have that identifies that, but we have plenty that identifies the water. Even with the depictions and the drawings and all the other stuff, it has to do with the water. So now it makes me wonder who are really these Tridactyls now, because if it's this idea that they could have went from water to land and possibly gave us information, then now I'm stuck on a whole nother whirlwind of trying to gain knowledge, because my whole idea was that they came from outer space. But then you look at the mountains that Ed just talked about and how there's water up there that can sustain life in some ways. It just makes you think, okay, now what are we going to really do? Are we going to change our ideas because we feel like
it combines both, right? They can come from the water and descend at the same time.
Yeah, so it makes, and that's what I'm saying is that that's a possibility too. Like maybe that was the easiest way for them to land without causing too much damage to their spaceship. But my question is, where in the myth does it say that? We know what the myth says where they came from as far as the water. So counter that with something that says they came from the skies. And all they have to do is just show that. And I know Zachariah Sitchin gets that cylinder seal VA243. But if you listen to everybody that talks about that cylinder, everybody, including Billy Carson, says that's Sumerian. No, it's an Akkadian. It's an Akkadian tablet. It's from Akkadia. It comes after the Sumerians. And not only that, the Sumerians didn't even really talk about the gods or depicted their gods in a way where it was language. It was the Akkadians that did that. So now it was never the Sumerians, it's always the Akkadians, but everybody throws everything into the Sumerians. And that's why we have a lot of confusion. If we understood, like I said, right, if we all believe that it's Tridactyls and these Tridactyls are real, then there's no doubt in my mind that this is possibly the Anunnaki that they're talking about. And it could possibly be that, especially from going off what an anthropologist says from his degree, from his experience, from his livelihood, his research. It just makes me wonder, why am I looking outside of Earth's atmosphere when I should be looking inside?
Mm-hmm. That's right. And you guys, this is a segue into what I was talking about earlier. And I was talking just specifically about one person, but I wanted to go into what rebirth and what Professor Ed Katz was saying. But we also have to focus on, it's not a one path situation. This is not the yellow brick road. Like in some movies, they always say, stay on the yellow brick road. This is the one, how society wants you to think. This is one religion. This is one way. This is one thing. This is one, everything is always a one thing. And it's not. It's multiple. If people don't open their minds and step outside of the box and look at the world from outside, from a moon's view, we're going to get stuck in this narrow view, this narrow mind of thinking, where we're going to be stuck on one path.
And that's my concern about Judeo-Christianism, is that I suppose I'm Catholic myself. I'm not really practicing, but it's just very concerning that everyone is focused on this one Bible, this one part of the world, this tiny Holy Land. Even now with war,
that way.
Yeah. We were taught that way. When there's this whole world of
Cultural.
Asia that no one looks at.
Yeah, it's cultural. So we don't see that's why I love Google Earth, because you see the whole world. You could travel around it. You can move the ball around, and you could go to each place and you could travel to it. And traveling is important too, guys. If you ever get a chance, don't stay at home on that couch. Travel, go out and go to other places, enjoy other cultures. That's why we have Rebirth here, because he is to me, he's the expert. He's our expert in cultural mythology and cultural history and talking about these things. And he helps dissect what we're talking about. And he's the third person in. And my belief, I think it's everything. Shadow beings. We haven't even hit upon that. We haven't even talked about shadow beings coming from a parallel universe, because we don't know anything about them.
Yeah, we talked about the Lore's canon plenty of times. I bring that up.
Yeah. I mean, you have, but I mean, between I and Ed Casas, way before you came along, we didn't talk about shadow beings, right? And other, they call them shadow bitches, and other streamers call them, because when they look at these ghost stories and say, "Oh my God, look at it, shadow bitches!" Yeah, there's a shadow being wandering around in those ghost TV shows and stuff. It's crazy.
No, I agree with you. I believe two things can be true at the same time. But where is the actual text that says that? I can see if you tell me what you see, I can see what you're saying. But
yeah, it's hard for me to talk about that when I haven't stumbled across it in my research.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't seen it because you're not looking for it. That's the thing.
And but I am. That's one of the things that I'm looking for to see is, okay, I trust me, I've read so many different books on UFOs.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on real quick. Hold on.
I put on so many I read so many books about UFOs from, people who from back in the day, like Bramley. I read about stuff from, about Inner Earth with Admiral Byrd. I've read so many different UFO. I watched Ancient Aliens. I understand that UFOs are real. And I understand that they say that they went outer space and they seen flying objects. I understand all that. I get that 100%. So two things can be right at one time. But initially, is our human being, as a human being, are we the gods of this planet? And because of our hybridization and our changing from our original bodies, did that take away from some of the things that we were able to do, even though we may have been some in the water and some on land? I mean, two species can probably, aren't dolphins mammals?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Aren't we mammals?
Mm-hmm.
So why can't that be the same thing in hundreds of million years ago with the same intelligence? Dolphins and orcas are literally the intelligent beings of the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's so funny? Orcas and dolphins are dolphins. They just call them different.
Yeah.
Next month, when we head off to North Carolina, we might experience a cryptic being. We might experience a
that'd be nice.
What do we call what do they call them? The mimics. When we're out there in the wilderness, when we're checking out the indigenous culture in the mountains, we don't want to be experiencing the mimics, but there's a possibility we will run into it with our cameras. I
will be glad to face any metaphysical being you put in front of me.
Yeah, but I mean, if we experience it, then we'll catch it on camera and we'll share it with everybody here, and we'll tell you we ran into mimics up in North Carolina, deep in the mountains. We're gonna be up in the Black Mountains, guys. So we're gonna be all the way up there.
So, any lighter fare we can talk about to wrap up this stream here? We're going on what? Good 2 hours here, just about. Any lighter fare? How did you like Starfleet Academy, Fat Jesus?
Bro, Starfleet Academy is the SHIT. It is awesome. It is awesome. I love Starfleet Academy. 1,000 aura to all the cast members of Starfleet Academy. I love the diverse cast. I love the writing. I love how they they continued on from Star Trek Discovery and then they Into the Future. It's just absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see next week on Thursday what's going to happen. There's so much discussion on the internet. People are fighting against each other, talking about what's going to happen next. If Discovery is going to appear, if they're not going to appear, if who's going to sacrifice their life for the rest of the crew next week. Everybody's at odds with each other right now on the internet. It's insane. Oh, check that out. What is this?
So I was inspired. I was inspired by I tell you what, Rebirth.
Look what Professor Ed Casa created here.
For whatever reason, man, those mannequins that you brought to life from the pirate thing, it's blew my mind on so many levels. It's kind of freaky.
Make it full screen. Make it full screen when you play it.
It's kind of freaky. And also the other thing is, I think museums should encourage this, because what a great way to bring your experience to life, but to go to the museum. I mean, they should like put a sign up that says, hey, film this and use this AI and bring our exhibit to life. Did you see that, Jesus?
Yes.
He took the 3 pirates and brought them to life. And he said to me when I showed him these drawings, he said, well, you know, you could bring your drawings to life too. And I'm like, what a great way to put a little advert out. So I'm putting together.
Play it. Just play it.
I'm putting together a role-playing game. So if anybody wants to join, it'll be what's called a West
Professor
Marches
is
game.
very creative. Yeah.
And so if anybody ever wants to join, I'm going to start this campaign on whenever the time is available. So here's a little promo for it. I thought we'd lighten up the mood so we can wrap up this show tonight. We had a great show, though.
Where do you find the time? Oh, it's choppy. It's just choppy for me, or it's choppy
just
for
you.
everybody?
Well, I don't know. I shouldn't talk.
I can see the movement. Yeah, I see the movement. It's like almost like a comic book.
There's no sound to it, though.
Oh, there's no sound?
No.
I don't know why. I'm purposely sharing it the way we shared it last time.
Do you hear sound from it? Rebirth?
No, I don't hear any sound.
No?
I just hear the background noise that he's been having all since we've been talking. I thought that was just part of it.
Yeah, we just hear your music. I'm gonna have to teach you how to separate your music in OBS.
That is weird, because last time when we played something on the screen and you said just share it from Restream, that you were able to hear it. I don't know why you can't hear it this time. I'm so confused. It's really annoying.
It's okay. Okay. Now it's dead space in the background. Your music is gone. There you go.
We'll bring it back.
That's probably why we couldn't hear it, because he had his music going on.
Oh yeah, try turning off your music and then play it. Right. Let's see if we... Nah, nothing. No. I think what you have to do on your OBS is make a on OBS. There's a beta sound thing that separates it for Internet Explorer, and then you have to hit properties every single time on the right side for that specifically in your audio area. There's a list of your audios on the right side on OBS, and then you have to hit properties and then click on a Google Chrome and that link.
Oh,
I've shared it, turns on.
I've shared it this way before too. So look, there it is up there. Let's see if you can hear it now.
No.
Nothing. Yeah, so that's two different. I've got it 2 different ways. One coming off of Restream and one coming off of OBS.
It's not Restream. It's just your OBS. But your OBS has to have a specific audio. You have to have a specialized audio that is linked to the
Yeah, I have that. Well, at least I think I have that.
Yeah, but it's under beta. in OBS at the
Hmm.
bottom. You have to put a plus sign where the plus sign is. You click on it, and it says beta audio, and then you click on it, and then it adds an audio to your right with all the other
for
audio.
example, remember last week I played the Tridactyls song, and you were able to hear it.
Yeah, well, you fandangled it a little bit.
I just did the same thing I did last week, so that's why I don't understand why it's not playing.
Yeah, you remember when I said? Remember when I told you when you do it on your when you do a screen share, you got to make sure you hit that little thing.
That's what it is. All right, one more time. Let me try this one more time.
I don't know why it doesn't stay for restream, but sometimes I have to make double check on StreamYard because sometimes it'll reset it on its own. So I have to hit that. I went through trials and errors. Like if you watch my beginning videos of me doing this, you'll literally hear me going to my phone and making sure that it's playing through my phone because I forgot whether I hit that button or not.
Thank you. So I'm so glad you said something because I'm so confused. All right. One more time, guys. One more time. You ready? You got to make sure you hit that button. And the button looks like it's already pushed. Oh, boy. If you don't hear it this time, I don't know what to tell you.
Nope.
Nothing.
Yeah, something's wrong with you.
Nothing.
Something's wrong with your output.
If you go to OBS on your main screen and you hit that plus button under sources, hit the plus button and under sources, you see it? And a list comes up. And it says application audio capture beta. You see that in your OBS?
Audio capture beta?
Did you make sure the volume's up on that screen?
Audio capture beta.
Make sure your audio's up on that screen too.
Yeah, the audio
in OBS. If you hit the plus sign, hit the add sources plus sign on the bottom under sources.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to see application audio capture beta on the top.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that. Okay.
If you click on that, it'll add it in your audio mixer. There's an audio mixer on the right.
Yep.
And then you go to audio mixer and you click on the three little dots on the left and then hit properties. Or it already has properties up when you add one already. And then you click, and under Windows, you look for Chrome and the video, and you put that on there, and then you hit OK, and then make sure your the audio's up on it. Make sure the volume is up.
So what am I selecting? I don't want to select Restream.
No, you don't have to do anything. Restream is already recording off your OBS. So
the window selection. It's what do I choose for the window option?
Chrome, and then in Chrome you're looking for your video that is on YouTube, right? So is it where is that video
on X right now? Okay,
so
you have to select it each time.
Yeah. You have to specifically look for that window.
All right, one more time.
Yeah.
Anything?
I hear something.
You do?
I heard something. Raise the volume up.
Raise the volume?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Make sure the volume is up in X as well. In that thing. There's a volume in the that's up.
That's up. Oh boy.
Possibly your volume inside your Windows and computer is not connected to
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
God, there's too much buttons, man.
That's why I don't really.
This is also a tutorial for everybody to learn.
Yeah, because if you just do the restream right, you wouldn't have this issue, right?
I have to deal with the same thing every single time I stream.
You probably might need to close that screen and open it back up since it messed up all them times.
Yeah.
So my playback device looks fine. What am I choosing as my playback device on my PC? Don't I just use my regular headphones?
Yeah, I mean, if all your audio is heading towards your headphones and nowhere else, then your audio should be coming out into OBS. Is your OBS inside OBS? Is it your headphones? Your audio? If you go into the settings in OBS, does it say audio out through your headphones? The same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, then that
Audio
everything
output.
should be working. Yeah, then everything should be fine.
Oh Lord.
But that beta audio, that's how I control all my audio. I separately control all my audio on each window.
Restream, like we did it last. I mean, we just did this last week on YouTube. That's why I still don't understand. We just had it working. Anyway, on that note, I think we should wrap this up.
No,
so,
it's fine.
Any final words?
No, it's fine. I'm happy to teach everybody how to mess around and because I've been doing this for 5 years, so it's kind of like a learning experience with OBS. It's so many things in OBS that you can do. You know, there's also additions to it.
How about also I wanted to do on OBS. I wanted to like when we're doing the spaces to play audio through OBS. Can I do that?
Yeah. You can do that too. You could do that through that, what I gave you, the beta, separating the audio to each individual window. So when you separate the audio for each individual window, but you're going to have to mute desktop audio when you do that. So if you mute desktop audio and then give audio to each individual window, then you have control of every audio. And you can mute each individual object in your audio mixer. So you can have control over it. Like if you have Discord up, you can do that. You can have a separate audio for your Stream Deck, audio coming out of your Stream Deck. So if you have like a horn in your Stream Deck or something weird or quirky on your Stream Deck, and you want audio separate from that, you put it on Stream Deck audio separately. So you have a list of audio in on the right side. It's a lot of audios. It's like your own concert.
Yeah.
So it's not complicated. It's just, you know, you're giving yourself more options.
It's weird that you guys could hear it, but it was too.
Could you hear it on your side?
Oh, of course he can.
Oh, you could?
He can hear it.
It's coming right through my headphones.
Yeah, he can hear it. We can't
loud
hear
and
it.
Clear.
I have had that same issue.
Really?
People have told me I can't hear this. And I'm like, oh. So I had to separate all my audio out, and that's when people were able to hear everything, even my Discord, because I have a Discord channel, and I have people jumping into Discord talking, and people couldn't hear the people in Discord, so I had to separate my Discord channel, and people started to hear everybody that was in Discord. Or I could mute people from Discord. That way, if there's someone with foul mouth in Discord, I could just mute them. I have a button for that in my Stream Deck. So if you have some crazy conspiracy theorist named Fat Jesus.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know still if we answered this question. I don't know on the claws versus the nails.
I don't think they have claws, guys. They have nails.
I think
they don't have claws.
This looks like nails here.
Yeah. Oh, I see what he's talking about. That one down there looks like a claw, doesn't it?
This one does, but this looks like a nail.
Yeah, that's a nail. You see that?
And that's Alberto, guys.
We need to see a 3D scan of Alberto's hand. If we could look around it, we need to see all the way around the fingers. All right, pause it right about. Yeah. Right. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I hate it.
I think they're nails. I mean, look, it looks like a fingernail.
Yeah, it's a fingernail, guys.
Yeah, I've asked these guys too. I'm like, can you stop putting the watermarks on for the purpose of science, please?
There. Stop. Yeah, those are fingernails, guys. They're not claws. These are not carnivorous beings. These are not. They don't go around clawing and killing prey. Like a wolf or like just like carnivorous animals have claws, and like a cat has claws and teeth and all that stuff. These beings don't have these
Well,
things.
can we look at Suye then to make sure the
Now, the question is, do they have suction cup fingers?
I don't think so.
Do they have? I mean, these are dried up fingers, so we don't know. Do they have the ability to grab and suction cup their hands on if they are prey driven? Can they, or are they vegetarians where they
Was this guy's
cup?
hands full, or are those missing bones? Almost looks like it's missing. Is it missing a digit at the end?
It looks like it. Looks like it is. Looks horrifying. Looks like somebody was digging and they went like this with a shovel and just.
So I'm just wondering if this specimen actually has claws then, because this is the basal earlier version.
There it is. That one looks like it's missing digits.
That's what it looks like. It's missing the end fingers, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like.
Or is that a claw though? What is that? No,
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. That could be claws. Yeah, that. Oh, that's the feet. That's the feet. Oh,
well, this is the different specimen here. This is
this
is the so-called insectoid.
But what about the hand of that? Where's the hands? There's the hand right here on the right side. You see the right side? Around the butt, on the butt, down at the butt, on the bottom is the hand. But that's a foot.
It looked like there. It might have been holding its, NUTs.
Yeah, it's holding onto his nut.
All right,
Look at
guys.
The brain on that.
Yeah, this is the one
where the movie Aliens came from.
They were saying that those were llama teeth, but llama teeth are solid and they don't.
Bro, I'm sorry, but that looks like freaking Alien the movie.
Yeah, again, makes you wonder how much of pop culture is somehow derived from.
It's popping out of somebody's stomach.
Well, and when you think of the larva, in my opinion, are burrowing their way through, and now we have that alien.
Yo, hold up! Hey, that's another thing that I gotta tell you before we end this. So, I told you I've been watching Stargate SG-1 lately, and I forgot, and it just hit me. I'm now on like the 4th or 5th season, but it just hit me when you kept talking about the larva. In Stargate, they have what they call the gold or whatever. Yeah,
gold.
In their stomachs, and it's X marks the spot.
Amazing.
It looks like an X, and the X marks the spot, which literally, if you go to ancient Hebrew, is TAU or TAV, which means that is X marks the spot. Same thing there. The identification of Jesus dying on the cross. The X and the cross has a lot of similarities with each other in ancient Hebrew, but the stomach, the gold, is that outer species or an individual that inhabits another species of body, a physical body, and uses its body as a vessel of some sort. No different than when you watch Avatar, when they use the consciousness of changing it.
And also in Star Trek, there is the what are they called? Jesus?
Yeah, there you go. The gold right there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The serpent. That's what I'm saying, man. Look, I'm telling you, this mythology is crazy because.
Hey, there's your sock puppet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
What are the species of Jadzia Dax? The Trill. The Trill are a symbiotic life form with 2 species. A worm within this.
But this is what you was talking about. How much of our history or how much of our stuff is in these so-called TV shows and movies, and this is something that's literally in there. I mean, it looks like a serpent to me of some sort.
Yeah.
Could it be? It could have been like a. I mean, it's all in the depictions. And why did they include the X, meaning X marks the spot? And you're looking at all these symbols and symbology within it. And you're just like, dang, how much are they telling us that they're just making fun of us, or this is entertaining for them to continue their traditional?
I'm going to be the grounded guy in this conversation.
Okay.
All right. They're tapeworms. Okay. It's basically us going through the horrific, human beings going through the horrific bathroom experience of tapeworms dangling out of your back end.
But again,
and that's why those stories came to life for
But
thousands
we don't
of
have
years.
to. We don't have to make
tapeworms
up.
dangling around.
We don't have to
under the
make up
back
an
end
explanation
out of your
now.
body.
Because I'm finding larvae in the Tridactyls, so you don't need to make up something.
That's what when you kept saying that.
Is people are just inventing imagination from tapeworms coming out of people's bodies, and then they started making dragons and saying dragons coming out of your back end, going, ah, you know.
You're making up stuff. You're making up stuff to fit the narrative when in reality we have larvae in the bodies.
I don't know, man. I'm just using common sense. I mean, I'm a human being. If things come out of my body,
I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna tell you another thing that's so interesting that you say that, because there's a Futurama show that actually has where Fry eats a egg sandwich from a gas station, and these worms in his body creates his body into where he's like almost this perfect individual. Like he's so strong, he has the right words that he can say, or words he can say, and then he can play this certain instrument with like it's no other, like it's just so easy. So I'm telling you, they tell these stories. These stories are inside all these television shows and movies and all this other stuff. Like you don't really see it until you start reading about it. Like this is in mythology like crazy. That's why I brought up the SG1, because
here's the Trill symbiotes. I mean, it's just another story. So you got we could all say that the aliens spawned all of this, but then where is that coming from?
Tapeworm, guys, a bigger tapeworm. Can you imagine that coming out of your back end? You know, that would hurt.
But to see the difference is that you're making up something, and I'm saying, but I have evidence for something else. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I'm speaking for those that think it's tapeworms.
And also, it's like, you know, tapeworms have one shape, and when you look at the Paracas culture, the Nazca culture, what are they showing? They're showing like heart-shaped beings and forked tongues and coming out of mouths and whatnot.
I mean, we made a video game called Centipede, and we have to kill them, you know? You know?
Well, imagine this.
Imagine
an intelligent amphibian species that has memories of being not within the womb, but being within the brood.
Yeah. Well,
all right, I think that's a wrap.
I'm trying to be the face of wisdom here. You guys are just going off on science.
No, that's not, because that's what I'm saying. You're actually making up something. I'm saying I have evidence of larvae in the bodies. You see the difference? You're doing what I call Occam's spork. In other words, you've come up with the simplest explanation that you suggest is the explanation.
No, I mean, why can't it not be the simplest explanation?
Because you're making up something, and I'm saying I have evidence of something else.
I mean, ancient cultures didn't have science fiction films. They didn't have
exactly.
They don't.
So
they
it
don't
had
have
to be
what
based
you have
on something.
They have something dangling from their back end in the outhouse. They're down there going.
I haven't seen any depictions of that in the archaeological record. No, that's
what is this underneath me?
This is a good example, I think. It's like who's really speculating, me or you?
I don't know. I'm just thinking. You know, there could be a possibility. There's a connection between just regular human worms.
I call it Occam's spork. You've heard of Occam's razor? Occam's spork.
We're flipping sides here.
All right, guys. Hopefully, Jesus, you and I will talk about Starfleet Academy, Rebirth, and you guys hopefully will see you Wednesday for the Green Room, only on X.
And Rebirth is like really quiet. I don't want to get into this.
No, I'm the middle guy. I see both sides.
He is actually. He is kind of the middle in this.
If you really look at it, the ancient texts say one thing, and they depict something, and then when you put all the symbols and symbology and all the depictions together, you're like, okay, I can see how they came up with the story. It might not be 100% like that, but I can see the story within it, because there was a lot of times when you couldn't even go in the temples if you were sick, and they would do a certain type of skin test on that. So that means they would look at you and be like, well, shit, you got this big ass X on your stomach. Hell no, we're not going to let you in. You know what I mean? Because we know what that represents, right?
Oh, there you go.
So, and it could be a parasite. I mean, they say we have parasites in our body right now. So how much does that really affect us mentally and physically?
So the question is, did the parasites come from another world, or did they come from ancient Earth? That's the question. Or a parallel universe.
Why would you suggest another world or a parallel universe? Why would you even suggest that?
Because it's not natural for it to be something here on Earth.
But it is natural. Parasites are natural.
Compared to what? What animal? What insect? What animals does it reflect? Unless we hunted it down to annihilation and it doesn't exist anymore.
Are you talking about like real parasites, or are you?
Yeah.
Are you coming up with something? Of course.
Yeah, real parasites.
But you've already mentioned the real parasites, the tapeworm.
Yeah, but I'm talking about bigger ones, like, the sock puppets.
I don't know, man. You're jumping back and
forth
between
we're
reality
trying to
and
compare
fiction.
We're trying to compare it with the science fiction. That's what we're trying to do right here. We're trying to compare these alien beings coming out of our bodies.
I am ending this stream. It's 9 o'clock. It's my cutoff time. 2 hours. That's my patience level for anything nowadays. Live long and prosper.
Hey,
Thank
I
you
love
for
the
watching.
names. You better make some T-shirts with those names, by the way.
Maybe.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Any last words? I'm hitting end stream. Say goodbye.
Peace out, everybody.